How to do front brakes on a 2018 Honda Civic. Step 1, take off the tires. When working on front brakes, I always find it easier to turn the wheel so that the caliper is actually pointed outward. It's going to give you more room behind here to get tools in there and stuff to get it worked on. The next thing you want to do is take out your caliper bolts, which is going to be this one and this one. And on this 2018 Civic, they are 12 millimeters. Because I plan on replacing the rotor as well, I'm going to just stick a screwdriver in here and pry over it to get that piston to start going back in. And once you've done that, the caliper comes off nice and easy. And then I just set the caliper on top of the rotor for now so I don't hang it from the hose because you're not supposed to do that. In order to get the rotor off, I got to remove both these caliper bracket bolts. They're both 17 millimeters. And then I can just remove the whole caliper bracket with the brake pads still installed. Next, I need to remove this screw that's holding the rotor onto the hub. These can be pretty hard to get, so I usually use a crescent wrench on top of my screwdriver. That way I can get more leverage and more torque. Once that screws out, all you gotta do is pull the rotor off. Then just make sure when you're putting the new rotor on that the screw hole lines up with the hole on the hub. And then just tighten that screw back up. Now that that's done, I'm going to go over to the old brake pads and pull those off by removing these clips first that are kind of springs to help keep the pads from dragging. And then I'm just going to knock the pads out. Then I'm going to replace these metal shims with some new ones that came with the brake pads. Then I'm going to reinstall the caliper bracket using those 17 millimeter bolts. Then I'm going to insert my new brake pads, and usually the one that has a little squeaker tab on it is going to go on the inside with the tab at the top. The one without the tab just goes on the other side, and they just slide in like so. Next thing we want to do is make sure we push our piston all the way back in so it has clearance for the new pads. There's special tools out there that you can use for this. I'm just going to use a pair of channel locks or adjustable pliers, whatever you want to call them, and just squeeze them back together. And to do that, you just want to use one of your old pads so that you're not pushing on the piston itself. And then just nice and easy pressure to make sure that squeezes back in together and you're all set. Now that the piston's all set, we're going to put these little springs back in here to help keep the pads off the rotors. Then before we put the caliper back on, we want to make sure that these are sliding back and forth nice and easy. If they're a little stiff, you can just pull them all the way out, put some new grease on them, and shove them back in there. Now we're just going to put the caliper back on, make sure that the pins get lined up, and put our bolts back in here. And up both 12 millimeter bolts. Once I got that done, I like to turn the steering wheel back straight and also pump up the brakes. This is super important. Just give them a few pumps and make sure that it's nice and hard before you get out of your car. Then just put your wheel back on and tighten up your lug nuts in a star pattern. Then just lower your car down off the jacks. Then I double check to make sure that the pedal is hard. Then I pop the hood. And then check to make sure the brake fluid level is full. Thanks for watching and follow for more.